RJ, it's Super Bowl Sunday. We all know the story with that. However, Kraken did it. They proved yet again there is no such thing as a losing streak of 4 or more games.
Yep. That can't do it. I mean, I was confident they were going to turn it around. Talking at the last post game live, this team just doesn't seem to lose 4 in a row, and that's a good thing. We can talk about how they got there. It wasn't the prettiest today,
No.
but the Kraken get the 2 points, and that's what matters the most.
It really is. And thanks everybody for joining us here on Emerald City Hockey's post game live on this Super Bowl Sunday, presented by Queen Anne. Again, let us know if you're there. Maybe you watch this game there before all the action later. That'd be cool. It's also my sister's 25th birthday, so shout out to you, sis. Happy birthday. Got to get that one in there. Yeah, this wasn't a clean game. It was in some ways that made it an entertaining game because you never knew what was going to happen. I want to jump down into this comment here from Ty real quick because I thought this was like a good encapsulation of the end there. Only team I've watched where 3:50 left, up by 2 and heading to the power play isn't a good feeling. Because unfortunately, as much as the Kraken have been winning this year, and this win helps them out a lot standings wise and stuff, we'll see what like Vegas does later in the day and whatnot. But it is true. Like this team still has some holes that still need to be kind of plugged up before we get to playoff time.
Definitely. And this game really exposed a lot of what those are. And I think it could be kind of a good learning experience where you don't lose out on the 2 points, but you really see where you need to improve or maybe you need to add even.
Yeah, exactly. There's like a couple things, whether it's, the lack of the effectiveness of the power play and being on the power play, whether it's stuff like, Vince Dunn maybe screening Grubauer there, it looked like on that last goal, that shorthanded goal for the Flyers, or the very first goal for the Flyers on the power play where the PK just, you have the center, you got Yanni Gord and both defensemen trying to cover 2 guys, and then you just leave the rest of it open. Like there are still some of those things that I would just classify as mental mistakes more than anything that the Kraken need to clean up. But I don't want to like kind of just dwell on the negative, because the bottom line is the Kraken were able to secure the win today. We got some scoring from some guys who had been on a cold spell. Jordan Eberle especially is the one that I think of first. Tolvanen kept his thing going. That's always fantastic. And then Jaden Schwartz,
yes,
man, we were all talking about last post game, can't get those 5-on-5 goals. He said, well, here, how about this? Let me increase my production twofold for the entire year in this one game.
Right. We were talking about this last post game. We had this long conversation. Jaden Schwartz only has 1 5-on-5 goal all season. I know, Dylan, you were telling me, okay, when the media, everyone comes back home, you've got to bring this stat up to everyone and be like, guess how many 5-on-5 goals Jaden Schwartz has? The one is going to shock them.
Yeah.
And of course, he's got to score 2 today to mess up the stat, but I think we'll take it.
Yeah, it is a funny situation, but I will definitely take it. Props to Eberle for sticking with it and making that first one happen with Jaden Schwartz, and props to Wenberg on the screen there, and then props to Wenberg on the second one too. Just like that's a sick pass to get Jaden Schwartz that good opportunity there. So Wenberg, I thought, played a really nice game as well amongst the Kraken. Let's talk about Grubauer too, because before I hop over here into comments, because this was the game that we knew we were going to be looking at as far as who gets the start. What does that tell us about how Hackstall is viewing the goaltending situation long term? And it was indeed Philip Grubauer. And look, I thought Philip Grubauer played a good game. That first goal, that's on the team play in front of him. That is not on him. And I really feel like for that shorthanded goal, I couldn't tell if it tipped off of Vince Dunn or if Vince Dunn just screened him, but you can tell immediately because Grubauer, the moment that goal goes in, glares at Vince Dunn like, what were you just doing there? And so I don't know what Vince Dunn was doing there. That's really far back to be playing if you're playing on that. I don't know why you'd be that close to your own goaltender anyway. But yeah, I thought Philip Grubauer, he played like he's been playing the last really 2 months, which is really solid.
Yeah, and this morning with getting them the decision to start the game, I mean, it felt like a changing of the guard in net because this is going back to a point in the schedule where you can pick either goalie you want. You just came off the back-to-backs. You basically would want to pick your starter. And Dave Hackstall picked Philip Grubauer, despite Grubauer having far and away the worst career splits against Philadelphia compared to Martin Jones. So this one just felt like you were going to start the goalie you felt was going to give you the best chance to win that day. And for the first time in a little while, Hackstall felt that was Philip Grubauer.
Yeah, so we'll see how things go after this one. Like I said, it would be hard to watch this game as a coach and pin some of this on Philip Grubauer. Like it would be really hard to do that. But we'll see who they decide to go with going into Winnipeg. Obviously, Winnipeg is, standings wise, a very tough opponent. They are just a tough opponent. You got to think that's going to probably end up being a lower scoring game, just given the way they're built and with their goaltender and everything. So it'll be interesting to see who gets the start on Tuesday for the Kraken. Looking over into chat, DJ and Tay, cue the talk about face-off losses. I will say this for the Kraken, 56% on the game. So, technically they were okay tonight. It's just some of those face-offs, particularly late. We saw Yanni Gord go out there for that big late one. Just, it's still like, you got to win them in the key moments. It just matters.
Yeah, it feels like these face-off numbers overall tend to be the opposite of the clutch draws in the game, where you'll have the Kraken losing them largely but still winning the important ones, or winning them largely but losing the important ones. Especially late in this game, that loomed large. And yeah, you need to have someone you can bring in to go and take a face-off.
Yeah, and especially maybe have that person out there on the power play. Could be a fun idea. I don't know, especially because you're starting in the offensive side. I don't know. It's could be fun. Joshua, that was way too close to the end. Hope Maddie is okay. That did not look good. Yeah. So Maddie takes that big shot block. First off, poor Maddie. He had so many opportunities to potentially pick up a point with that net empty, whether it was a goal on his, whether it's a block shot of his, a shot of his going wide, him not being able to get a pass over to somebody who could then go on it. So I was already feeling bad for Maddie. But then he comes up clutch with the big time shot block. That was a dangerous looking shot attempt there. It was, he did a great job getting in the way of it, but that puck hits him right there in that kind of that side of the knee towards the back of the knee where there is no padding. And we saw this, I think it was last game with Jordan Eberle too, took that, and he was able to come back and play in the rest of that game. Maddie obviously had to be helped kind of off the ice and down the tunnel, you could see. So yeah, just hopefully he's doing all right after that one, but that has to hurt.
Absolutely. That stings. You can see it on his face too. I mean, the pain from that, but there was no hesitation as he was lining up to face that shot. You knew he was going to make sure to get some of his body on it as much as he possibly could. Didn't care how it was going to feel afterward. I mean, that's the kind of gamer that Maddie is. And I see lots of people in chat here talking about, Maddie Beniers and, that gutsy shot block. Good Lord, Maddie hit an empty net for Christ's sake from Coop. There were also those chances, but yeah, I mean, got to applaud the effort there from Maddie Beniers.
Yeah, and as is the case with any of these injuries and stuff, we're not going to know anything anytime soon. You'll know when we know, kind of thing. We'll make sure to get that out on Twitter and all that kind of stuff. Barbara, that was way too scary at the end. Not good for my health when I don't know the outcome yet, like usual. Yeah, a little bit of a different setup from what's normally going on for you. Hey, you got the primetime game today, though, so good for you there.
Yeah, definitely a Europe-friendly start time today.
Yeah. Some more. Listen, Maddie, I love the effort, but we need you to stop getting yourself hurt. First one, not on him. Not on him, that Tyler Myers hit. But yeah, it would be nice to have him healthy for sure. Maddie putting his body on the line, definitely. Scholl's Sprong looked like he was trying too hard. Like the threat of another scratch was hanging over him. Don't do a lot to remove that threat. Or didn't do a lot to remove that threat. Yeah, Sprong is, I hate to say it, but he's starting to become a little more one-dimensional again. This is kind of looking like the Daniel Sprong we knew all along, I'll say.
Yeah, and I do wonder whether that threat of a scratch, maybe was hanging over him a little bit. Although, interestingly, you'd think that would make you want to shoot a little bit more. And he just seemed a little trigger shy, and that's not the Daniel Sprong that we know and love. He had a few good chances to shoot the puck, passed it up, like right before the Flyers Van Riemsdyk goal. As Edzo was on him, I mean, he's always on these guys for not shooting the puck. He's like, you got to shoot that puck, and then it comes back, into your own end, and you could see his frustration on the bench. Sprong, it just felt like he was fighting the puck most of the game.
Yeah, finishes without a shot on goal. As I'm looking at things here, lowest ice time among Kraken forwards with only 840. No power play time. So, it's still clear that Hackstall is sending a message of, look, we don't we don't feel like your play is totally there. And you do have to wonder that, if Burakovsky is healthy, it looks like based on all that other information I just read, Sprong would be the odd man out, so to
I
speak.
would think so.
Yeah. So would definitely like to see him kind of get back to those scoring ways. That would be really, really cool. Alex, well, that was a little closer than it should have been, but glad they took care of business. Definitely. Tammy, finally some run support for Gru. Yes, and he needed it because the defense definitely wasn't supporting him in this one.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I'm looking at my my spreadsheet here with the Grubauer games. It's only up to like when we last checked at the end of December, but I think this is only the third game all season where he's gotten 4 goals of goal support.
For a team that's like scored most of the season too. It's not like, oh, this is like some, like the 90s Devils teams or something where it's like, yeah, we just want to win every game like 2-1. It's fine.
Yeah, no, it's it's still mind-boggling. And I know someone checked this before today's game where since I put that stat out about the goal support and where
Mhm.
they ranked, Jones's goal support has gotten better and Grubauer's had gotten worse.
It's wild. I
Yep.
again, I'll say it. I think I said the last post game. Like hockey is the only sport where an 82 game sample size, just a fluky streak, can last that whole massive sample size. It's the weirdest thing.
Yep.
Michael, passing needs a lot of work. Been pretty bad since they got back from the break. I'm going to agree with you, Michael, about the passing there. I'm actually going to take it back further. I think since they got back from that 7-0 road trip sweep, the passing's been off that whole time since. Lots of passes into each other's feet.
Yeah, and that's a big indicator of, in a lot of ways, how well you're playing as a team, how focused you are, how much you're just clicking, and that passing, whether it's good or bad, can have kind of knock-on effects much later in plays, much earlier in plays. It just hasn't seemed quite right. I mean, I tend to think, since the break, but as you mentioned, going back further, the more I think about it, I think you're right as far as when that kind of started getting worse.
Yeah, and let's be honest, passing is a mental fatigue thing, right? Because it's just it means you're just that little bit slower, or maybe some of that hesitation that we've seen from Wenberg, Eberle, Sprong. Like we've talked about all these different names, but talked about the idea of hesitation when it comes to shooting. Like, yes, some of that could just be you're in your own head because you haven't scored in a while, but some of it could also just be the mental fatigue factor of we're seeing that half a second slower decision making, or we're seeing like, look, I'm just trying to get rid of this puck. I'm not as totally on it and crisp with everything that I need to be just because, hey, I have played over 50 games of hockey here in the last, 3.5, 4 months. And that just wears you down physically and mentally. And so I do wonder, generally you'd like to see after a break like they had, that crispness and everything to come back. And we just haven't seen it, unfortunately. Striatic, I can't even enjoy the win. I'm so worried about Maddie. I know. Try to enjoy it though, Striatic. Shoeshine, it's too early for this stuff. I will agree with that. It was hard to get into the like mindset of watching this game today for me.
It was. I mean, it was all happening too fast, especially with the early Flyers goal and the 2 penalties. I just like something to ease me in. Just give me a few minutes of, just kind of boring hockey, but it wasn't that. Yeah, I mean, and as Edward points out, is this the earliest ECH post game live? Barely even afternoon. I think it might be.
It might be, yes. I mean, we're looking at finishing up around like 1:30. That's kind of crazy. I hope everybody goes and has a good lunch or something. Leanne, that was a nail biter towards the end. All the scrambling at the net nearly did me in. I appreciate your service, Adam Larson. Yes. So you had texted me because we finally got some Adam Larson power play time. And what an amazing job he did. He made that power play work as far as killing off the rest of it without anything dangerous happen. I will say
Killing
that.
off the rest of the power play. Yes.
Yes. Only the Kraken. I'm telling you, only the Kraken. But yeah, Adam Larson laying out like that. I mean, he saved the game tying goal there. Like in my mind, there's no question about that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, he laying down in front there, that is potentially game saving, at least a point saving play there from Adam Larson. And I mean, just doing his thing. There's a reason you put him out there on the power play when you're trying to kill off the rest of it.
Yep.
I'm like, how much time was left? Maybe 3 minutes or something. I was like, I would be surprised if he just plays the rest of this.
Yeah.
Clearly the most trusted defenseman in that situation. He showed exactly why.
I think he did end up playing the rest of it, to be honest.
I should go look at his shift chart for that last one.
Yeah, because you know what? I mean, he outpaced even Vince Dunn by a lot today. 26-19, Vince Dunn at 22:50. And yeah, seeing 47 seconds of power play time really makes my heart skip a beat there. Second amongst Kraken defensemen today, Adam Larson in power play time, all because of that situation
Just
there at the end.
just like you wanted, Dylan, huh?
Yep, that's how
All
I
right.
always envisioned it to go. Definitely.
We got a super chat here from Schultz. Thank you very much. Boone Jenner might be available. First round pick. Asking. I
Oh,
know,
giving
Dylan.
up.
I know you're a fan of Boone Jenner.
I am a fan of Boone Jenner. I think I've talked about him on our Red Glare podcast. He's a fantastic two-way guy. He's a good leader, all that kind of stuff. I think he can be a sneaky good scoring option too. A first round pick seems kind of high. I'm pulling up Cap Friendly so that I can, refamiliarize myself with his contract situation. I know it's the cap hit's not too terrible. It starts with a 6, I believe. If I'm right here.
Is it that high?
Oh no, it's even
I was
lower
gonna
than that. Yeah, it's
say it's got to be lower
375.
than that.
Yeah, it should be like a 6 though, given all that he brings. But yes, at 375, he's under contract for a couple more years, so he would very much kind of fit in with the Kraken's window. You're looking at the same kind of age situation as Bo Horvat, which I thought, hey, this is a veteran center option. Maybe can outlast Yanni Gord for you as your competitive window with guys like Shane Wright and Matty Beniers is maybe a couple years later than what Yanni Gord's still like prime-ish time is. Boone Jenner fits that better. And I could totally see a situation in which if the Kraken were to give up an asset like that for a Boone Jenner, you're looking at, Boone Jenner would be a fantastic third line centerpiece to complement a 1-2 punch of Matty Shane for the next 3 years for the Kraken. Like I do think that would be a really cool thing to think about for them.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, and you look at the leadership too. He's the Blue Jackets captain. I mean, he brings so much off the ice as well. Yeah, I mean, I think the age fits in with kind of the older part of the Kraken's core. And again, that money is never going to concern you. That's just slightly more than Tanev is making.
Yeah.
Yeah, a player that works for now and the future.
Yeah, and because he has that term, I think you could consider giving up a first. Like, because a Kraken first this year is not going to be what it's been these last couple years, where you're getting a player who could potentially help you right away. You're looking at a player who's probably going to not make the NHL until 2 years from now, and then if you consider every NHL player basically needs a year to get like up to speed on all of that, you're really talking a 3-year window. So, would you rather have a kind of, a veteran leader, good depth piece, Boone Jenner guy for those 3 years, or a prospect in the pipeline? Like, what helps your plan more? And it's possible that Boone Jenner helps the Kraken's window and plan more than having somebody develop and hopefully turn into a potential Boone Jenner. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's always intriguing. I've really come around to these days, I'm telling you, to the idea of trading draft picks. Like take the known over the unknown is kind of how I've been thinking things lately. Superfly, oh boy, that power play is terrible. Should have taken a penalty to play 4-on-4 instead of playing with a quote man advantage and letting them back in. But hey, a win's a win, right? Yes, we will take those 2 points. We will celebrate the win. But I do understand this. Like, it is wild to me that the Kraken somehow make it look like you have an extra player on the ice. Like, as far as sports go, this is like the most insane type of advantage you could ever give one team over the other, is just to have more players. And somehow consistently, RJ, all year long, the Kraken have made that look like it's a detriment to them.
I know. I don't get it. And especially, I mean, it's interesting, like, how do you want to handle it when you have a power play and you're defending a lead like that? Because different teams will approach it differently. And I like that at least in the beginning, the Kraken seemed to kind of try and put their foot on the gas a little bit. But yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, that's just a very low danger shot that can't go in, whether it's Dunn or Grubauer or whatever happened there. That shot shouldn't even be causing you any danger. It's not like they allowed a breakaway coming back the other way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's I don't understand it. I was gonna finish off what I said with make it make sense, RJ, but I know nobody can make it make sense. Like it's just it doesn't make sense. Shoeshine, you hope it's just a singer for Maddie, but man, what a baller move blocking that buzzer beater shot. Love that kid, absolutely. Thanks for the happy birthday wishes for my sister here, everybody. Rebecca, happy birthday to your mom. Yes, it's Abe Lincoln's birthday, and then if we want to keep things hockey related, Alex Galchenyuk. How about that for
There you
a
go.
blast from the past for everybody? Is he still playing in the NHL? I don't even know.
Coyotes? I don't know.
If he is, it's in Arizona, but I don't even think he's still in the NHL anymore. It's a shame. I really
I
like
am
him.
looking this up now because we need to know.
Yep. Michael, looked like the puck got Maddie in the upper leg, probably a painful contusion a day to day. Yeah, like I said, it's kind of that like weird inner ear, like inner knee thing. Like it's rough. Also from Lindsay here, it's hello from Lindsay, Patrick, and Jen joining you on the way back from Anchor Management's team brunch. Hey, I hope that was a fun team brunch. Maybe you guys were able to watch the game. That sounds like a lot of fun. And how's it doing, everybody?
Hey, Dylan, I looked it up.
Yeah.
Adam Larson played the final 237 of the game.
Let's go. Let's go.
Yep.
All right. Beniers is third among Kraken forwards in shots blocked this season from Stratic. That doesn't surprise me. Like that's who he is.
Yeah, people were pointing that out on the Discord. Always great conversations going on the Discord. I think that was yesterday
definitely.
about Maddie's shot block numbers, and I was surprised to see how high they were. But going into this game and seeing all the shot blocks, having been on the Discord, following that conversation, I was ready. I kind of understood.
Yeah, no, it's one of those things. I mean, it's just like whether it's in these post game chats on the Discord, like you guys are all so fantastic as far as following. Everybody kind of follows something a little bit different, or they find something interesting to them, and they'll follow that aspect of it. And then when we can come together as a community and everybody can share those little things that they find interesting or that they noticed or whatever it is, like it just enriches the whole experience for everybody so much more. So whether it's the Matty Beniers talk over on the Discord, whether it was the Jaden Schwartz 1 5-on-5 goal last time, like that's the kind of stuff that really makes this so unique and special compared to watching, say, just like the regular post game live off of Root, or just trying to maybe watch the game at a venue, or going to the game. Certainly, like the fact that we can all get together and talk about all those things and share our interests and what we've picked up and noticed and everything, like it just makes this whole experience so special.
For sure. And while we got a convenient plug here,
Yeah.
though, link to the Discord, I believe that should be in the description and below if you're
It's
watching this on YouTube. If you haven't already joined, go check it out.
Yeah, it definitely should be there. And just looking at who the two forwards ahead of Matty Beniers are in shot blocks, it's Brandon Tanev, who plays a ton on the PK, so that makes sense. And then Alexander Winberg, also somebody who's played a little bit more PK time than Matty. But you got to think, as Matty gets more and more trusted on the PK, those shot blocking numbers are only going to continue to go up and make him that much more of a valuable fantasy piece, RJ.
Yes, I mean, because that's what really matters.
That's really what matters, definitely. X Kid Z, great to have a win, but the team looks like they really need some home practice time. I do think they need that. Like, it was kind of brutal coming out of the break and just going on the road. Like, I do think that that's part of what we've seen from them this whole go through.
Yeah, I think that's what they need really more than anything else right now. They had the rest for the break. They just need to get some practices in.
Yes, I really like this from Burnt Creme. Not a confidence building win, but so needed. I think that's a really good kind of summary of today.
Yes, definitely.
Coop, our power play is now so bad that the other team gets offense. Yes. Oh, it never stops. Top line doing top things today, at least from Ty. Yes, I thought today was a really good display for the group. Like I said, Eberle had a fantastic game. He scores, gets that monkey off his back, and then the stick to itiveness of getting Schwartz that first goal, just willing that pass. Like, I don't care how many bodies the Flyers throw in front of me. Like, at some point, I'm going to get this guy who is just all alone in the slot. You got to love the Flyers, RJ, on that situation. They're going to throw all their bodies in front of the slot instead of just one person sliding up and taking care of Jaden Schwartz, who's just like wide open in this dangerous scoring opportunity.
It gave me Kraken flashbacks from last season as far as just the way they played that defensively. I mean, hey, they blocked the first couple passes, but yeah, Eberle was not going to take no for an answer. It's like, I'm going to get this puck there. My guy's wide open. If you don't want to cover him, I'm just going to keep trying. And that's exactly what happened.
Yep. He had some other good passing opportunities in this one too. I thought it was a fantastic game from him. Let's see. Blaze King Gaming, that second Schwartz goal was a laser beam. Definitely. Coop referencing Grubauer's save percentage. Yes, it's not a pretty save percentage in this one, but again, it's looking at the goals and determining what actually happened there. X Kid Z, looks like the other teams are getting all the puck luck and none for us post All-Star break. hockey is a luck kind of based sport, RJ. Like you can plan everything as much as possible, but in hockey, that doesn't always mean it's going to go the way you're expecting it to.
Yeah, it's a kind of an unpredictable sport that way. Yeah, you never quite know. Man, this one certainly had that feel to it.
Yeah, gosh, it did. Um, let's see. Jamie Alexiak needs to stop turning the puck over in our zone. I think that could be said about a couple members of the Kraken right now. I still think for whatever reason, whether it's 5-on-5, PK, whatever it is, just getting the puck out of our zone, using the boards, getting zone clears, making outlet passes, whatever it is, that has been another kind of consistent struggle we've talked about with this team all year long.
Yeah, exactly. And it's the kind of thing too. It's one of those mental focus things. And maybe it helps having some practice reps at home. Just I know this is something that the Kraken have worked on when it really became a problem at certain times where they've run drills just like, hey, high and hard off the glass, or like take
Mhm.
that extra second to look and find somebody. And Dave Haxtell has kept the guys in on that. There have been drills designed specifically for that this season, but of course they haven't run any of those recently because they've had the All-Star break in these road games.
Yeah, definitely. From Kepler here, Borgen looks so good today. What do you guys think about the D pairings going forward? You want to take that one first?
I mean, it certainly has stabilized after that really bad game with with Borgen and Alexiak together earlier. I still wouldn't mind going back to Alexiak, Schultz, Susie, Borgen. I still think that's probably the better option. I didn't check the final numbers on that for this one. I know at the start that Susie Schultz was doing very well. Oh, they did not finish very good.
I was gonna say
Yeah,
I only noticed them eye test wise in the first period. They were the only D pair that could kind of hold the blue line, hold the Kraken zone at all. But
mhm.
yeah, that disappeared later in the game.
Yeah, I mean, looking at at the numbers overall, like Alexiak and Borgen a little bit better, but I mean, from the eye test, I don't love it. It's good enough. It's not disastrous like it was for was it the Islanders game or um one of those games earlier on in the
Yeah,
road trip. It wasn't disastrous like that, but I still don't know why you're not going back to it again. Maybe still easing Schultz into things. He took another hard hit in this game. Maybe you don't want to push it too much, in which case, totally understand. If he's only prepared to play third pairing minutes, that's okay. But I wouldn't mind seeing the old D pairs again.
yeah, and Schultz had the least amount of ice time in this one. I'm rewatching the first goal just to see which the two defensemen were, and yeah, it was Susie Borgen, which is what I thought it was, because that one was really brutal. That first power play goal for the Flyers early in that game. I mean, it's a good thing the Kraken were able to kind of survive that because I was worried after that Rangers game, like, oh no, they're gonna dig themselves into a hole. It's gonna be really hard to get back out of this. Like that's a problem for them. But that was a situation where it was Susie went up, played too high, got caught. Borgen jumps in to try to save the situation, but it's not one where you really should be. And also Yanni Gore did that too. Like I'll include him in there because all three of them made bad decisions altogether. But it is one where I like Borgen a lot, and there are definite times that he plays well, and I think he's a fantastic piece to add to a rush. And in the offensive zone, he's done a really good job. But there are still times defensively, particularly with defense around the net. And I know, Alexia kind of struggles with that too. So having them both together, it's just kind of you need somebody there who can kind of be that anchor. And I feel like with that one pairing, you're just not quite getting it. And yes, maybe if Schultz, as he gets more back up to speed, as they feel more comfortable playing him more minutes, if he can work back up to getting second pairing minutes, we might see them go back to kind of the pairings that we'd seen through the vast majority of the season. Tammy, is there a cap on how much you pay coaches? Is bringing in a power play specialist coach a possibility?
No, there's no salary cap for coaches. You can pay as much as the owner's willing to bring in a coach or coaches to help out. It's bringing in a power play specialist mid-season is not something I can really remember a team doing, aside from just kind of getting rid of assistant coaches and replacing them mid-season.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's likely the Kraken do that. But yeah, there's no cap. You can bring in as many, spend as much as you want.
Yeah, yeah. The only situation you want to avoid is having the too many cooks in the kitchen. Like
Yeah.
that's the only type of situation where you need to be careful. Otherwise, yeah, I mean, it just becomes like how much are you personally willing to spend to build out your coaching staff, build out, all that kind of stuff. That's really what it comes down to. And then of once you find your head coach, which assistants do they want? Who do they want to trust and um, give control of those aspects of the game over to? So, but yeah, I still think we're gonna see I'm really running out of scenarios in which there isn't some sort of, whether it's a shuffling of responsibilities or somebody is replaced or changed. I just can't see the power play after this season kind of staying with the same leadership structure it's had. I
No,
really, that would really surprise me. Let's see, Jen. So what's the data on teams that have come off of the All-Star break straight into a road series? It's interesting. I don't know that we could quickly find that on the fly, RJ, but I
think that's
I gotta imagine it's not great.
No, I would think so. But again, it's probably too much to look up. I don't know, because that's a lot of data. I don't know, but I don't know. I don't know. I'm trying to. I remember I separated out home versus road coming back from those long breaks from the Kraken. I know they hadn't, they don't have a win at all really immediately after those, but I don't think it was any different, home or road.
Right. Yeah. It would be an interesting one. We could maybe look into that for a deep dive tomorrow.
Yeah.
We could try to find something. I'm gonna, just because I was gonna take a drink anyway. I haven't seen Gregory in here, but because of the Kraken win, finally get to say lemon lime Gatorade time. So let's go.
Nice. What color Gatorade do you think will be poured over the winning coach in the Super Bowl? It's part of my Super Bowl pool.
Well, if it's the Chiefs, you got to think it'll be red, right? And then if for the Eagles, you would think lemon lime. I don't know. I don't know. I just say red. Isn't it like always orange or something though? It's something like that.
I don't do research for this. I just vibes only. So that's why I was asking you. All right, orange. Gotcha.
There we go. Sean Larson, 6 hits and 2 blocks, plus that final stand in front of Gru. Huge game. Yeah, I do wonder now, and it's been a little while. Let us know, everybody. Have they shown us who got the hat? Because
let us know in chat.
I could see this being Jordan Eberle and Adam Larson are the two names that kind of jump to the front of my mind for that. But I could see like maybe a Wenberg getting it or Schwartz.
Yeah, I could see that too. I don't know. Maybe Wenberg had too many points. I don't know how many points he got, but generally, you want to go the real unsung hero. But I loved Wenberg's game today.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Let's see. Superfly. No way should the Kraken trade a first-round pick in year 2 of their existence. Totally legitimate thing to be thinking, Superfly. Definitely. Yeah. It is one of those, like, we're not used to teams this quickly in their existence, basically being potentially competitive. And in the Kraken's case, unlike in Vegas's case, having your franchise cornerstones kind of already lined up in Matty Bedier, Shane Wright, having Ryan Winterton, having, guys like Riker Evans on the blue line, Ty Nelson, like that's that's just never happened before. So we are kind of in uncharted waters as far as, okay, if we already believe that these are our franchise pieces, then do we start trying to accelerate the overall timeline of building out the team to take advantage of those windows, or do we kind of stick with the tried and true of let's continue to draft and develop? Like, this is Ron Francis. There is no playbook for this. This has never happened before. Like, even Vegas, we can't look to them because they traded away all their prospects and they didn't draft guys like Matty Beniers or Shane Wright. So it is really tough to say. And I think because of that, any opinion any of you have, all legitimate, because it is just, we are all exploring this together. Coop, any chance we won the Chikrin sweepstakes?
No. And now that you ask about that, actually, I'm checking Twitter here. It looks like he is most likely heading to the LA Kings. Ugh. Hey, but Dylan, you'll be happy about this. It sounds like Brant Clark is going the other way.
Oh, interesting. Okay, so we won't have to deal with Brant Clark.
So longer term, I'm actually kind of happy with that.
Yeah, that's not so bad. What's interesting about that, though, is like, because I really thought
all this not confirmed, but you have like Nick Kiprios and Greg Wyshynski and others kind of tweeting about it right now.
Yeah, I kind of trust that. What's interesting is I would have thought that maybe like Matt Roy or somebody would have gone the other way. So like, this is very much the Kings gearing up for these next like 2-3 years.
Yep. So I mean, they're definitely going to be a formidable opponent in the division. It's going to make things, that much more interesting. This is a big trade for the Kings and something the Kraken will have to reckon with.
Yep. Really, the only issue they're going to have now, and we'll talk about this more on Red Glare later this week, everybody,
Yes.
is just, finding that kind of eventual replacement for Kopitar as far as the minutes and everything that they rely on him to do as he gets older. Let's see.
Hey, Dylan, I'm going to skip to the bottom of chat just for a sec because Rebecca says, I feel like we've skipped over something important. This is an ECH dance party. Kraken power play not invited, though.
That is very true. Yes,
we got to celebrate a little bit.
We haven't acknowledged that. We get the definitely. Thank you for bringing that up, Rebecca. Definitely. Julius thought Yanni had a strong game, big assist on the Tolvanen goal, though he wasn't given one. Yeah, I mean, Yanni, I really liked what he's been able to do offensively this season, RJ, as far as coming in. He's one of the few Kraken members who consistently goes net front and tries to create disturbances there. But like I mentioned earlier on that PK, that first power play goal allowed, I felt like his defense has kind of fallen off a little bit. Like he doesn't quite look like the same Yanni that we remember from Tampa.
Yeah, I mean, something seemed a little bit off about him, and especially the last few games too. And one thing I noticed is he's been playing angry. And tonight, I think he was able. I mean, today, there we go, quarter in the jar. I think he was able to channel that into something productive and played a really good game. But in the previous games, it almost seemed more like frustration that he wasn't playing up to the standard that he knows he can play at. And so, it did make me wonder about him. And yeah, he just hadn't seemed quite like himself. I thought today was a really good turnaround for him, and that whole line was just fantastic. But he's not going to be okay with a losing streak or even just not playing up to his standard for very long.
Yeah, this is where that kind of veteran, been there, done that leadership all comes into play, and him very much understanding what he is capable of and the personal standard he holds himself to. And look, he was rewarded today. He had the most ice time among Kraken forwards. So Hackstall recognized that too. I'm sure also for the Kraken, like all today, this morning, behind the scenes and stuff, he was probably one of those guys with just that, like, yeah, we're winning today. Like, this is not continuing kind of mindset. And as a coach, you notice that you maybe want to start that guy off strong on the game. Rebecca, doing business with Nashville hasn't gone wrong yet. Yeah, that is very true. Anything we could do there. Let's see. Dylan, you got to give some props to McCann for the beautiful saucer pass from Daniel there. Definitely. I mean, McCann on that first goal, the Jordan Eberle goal, that pass was beautiful. It was just beautiful.
Just go. No mistake. And especially too, he kind of slowed down when he entered the zone. And I'm like, what are you doing? You could kind of have a 2-on-0 here, but he was just setting up that pass to get it absolutely right.
Yeah. This isn't the next comment, but it caught my eye from Tom here. Did I miss something? Hack answering questions about potentially being let go in his post-game presser. Don't have the volume on, just read the closed captioning. That would be
who
shocking.
Asked? Okay.
What Philadelphia reporter snuck into the Kraken locker room to ask that question? That is wild. Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay.
Wild.
You know what? I've got it because we have a media Dropbox here, so we'll get the videos of the pressers before they'll go up on YouTube. I've got to go check the Dropbox and just see if I can quickly find what happened here. That would be entertaining enough for us all to talk about.
I think so, because that is crazy to me. I'll answer some more
interesting. Okay, I haven't started watching it at all, but I can see the Hackstall presser thing was broken up into 2 parts, which is very unusual. It's labeled Hackstall 1 and Hackstall 2, so I don't know, maybe.
All right. So I'm seeing all the comments here as RJ's looking that up about the Boone Jenner situation. Yeah, he isn't a scorer. Like Michael's bringing up, he's not much of a scorer. It's one of those that, like I said, you're bringing him in to be the kind of that third line center, that guy who's going to help put you over the top as you get into like second, third round playoff series. It would be kind of one of those situations. And so you would be getting a jump on potentially doing that in advance now to get somebody who is a good player, work him into your fold from a leadership perspective before that window truly opens for you. Because eventually, the Kraken are going to be in that competitive place where they're going to be looking to add guys like that. And the bottom line is they're going to be spending a first round pick to do so. That's just the price of doing business at the deadline to try to bring guys like that in. And so if you would rather get a head start on bringing somebody in, work him into the fold, have everybody get used to him, have him build up chemistry and a rapport with everybody kind of before that situation happens, like that would be the argument for Boone Jenner. And I'm not saying like, wow, I'm in love with Boone Jenner and we have to do this, but I can see that argument, and it would be an aggressive approach for sure, but it could be one that would be like you'd look back on and go like, wow, that was a genius move.
Yeah, and I can't tell. I can't suss out any question about that. I'll have to look
Okay.
afterward. It's all the sounds at once. It's too much.
Yeah, yeah, no worries, no worries at all. Let's see. Maddie's shot block per 60 is also fourth on the team amongst forwards, so it isn't just a factor of him playing a lot. Yeah, and like I said, it's just going to go up once he starts getting more PK time for sure. Ty, need to plug that first ever armchair GM chat coming up. Kraken making RJ scramble a bit? Question mark.
Yeah, you know what? I mean, I was kind of prepared to be like, okay, here's kind of how it sets up for next season, all this stuff. But now might have to test out some possible trade deadline acquisitions depending on what we see the Kraken needing. But I am very much looking forward to that. That will be on Wednesday the 15th for our patrons. It'll be the first ever armchair GM stream. Gonna try it out. I think it's gonna be a super fun time. I know everyone enjoys Dylan's prospect chats. And it's a chance for me to kind of, put my GM hat on, which I always love to do. So definitely, if you're signed up to the Patreon, join me for that Wednesday, the 15th at 7 p.m.
Yep, and link to the Patreon should be in the description below as well. Let's see here from let's see where we going next. My thing jumped on me. How much of the goal support discrepancy is about the quality of competition? I'm not that familiar with D stats, but Jones has way more of his starts against teams that allow more goals than average. I don't know if you have access to that kind of in your spreadsheet there or not,
I
RJ.
know. Let me hang on.
Like it is an interesting question though, because it is one where, it's no secret that when you're dealing with kind of a
Yeah.
more solid starter backup situation, you would be playing the backup against easier opponents.
Okay, so I don't have solid goals against
Mhm.
goals allowed numbers and everything for each team, but we can kind of look at this anecdotally. I'm looking where he has his most goal support here. We got LA, that 9-8 win, San Jose, Toronto, Buffalo, Nashville, Anaheim, Florida, St. Louis, Vancouver, Edmonton.
Yeah,
Huh?
it's I don't know. I don't know that it's a trend there. I think it's just been how it's happened for him. Like
Yeah.
it's just one of those how things have matched up personally. But again, I'm not looking at anything. Ayers, how's it going, ECH? So glad for the end of the losing streak. Let's go, Kraken. Definitely, definitely, definitely. Hopefully, we don't have to worry about a losing streak again for a little while here. That would be awesome. Let's see. Stratic, you could make the argument, though, that with some better possession play, Matty wouldn't have to block so many shots, that he's ranked so high on this team per 60 at 5v5. It's still his first year. All that stuff's fine. And to be honest, this is Matty. Like, go back, watch his tape at Michigan. Watch him in the 2020 World Junior Championship, or 2019 one, I guess. Whichever one it was that he was there with Team USA. That's just who Matty is. You especially that World Junior. I remember when we were going through that whole draft process, watching that for the scouting report and stuff. His entire job was just, okay, play defense back and block shots and handle all that. And then when it's in the offensive zone, it was just, hey, go take on like 3 people by yourself on the forecheck and just stall them for as long as possible. And there are clips, if you go back and watch my scouting report on Matty Beniers, where I just play it and he is just harassing some other team, and it's taking 3-4 guys sometimes just against a solo Matty Beniers out there on the forecheck. Like, that's just kind of who he is at his core. It's who he wants to be. That's who he was before he worked on his shot and all the offense and stuff. So I don't think it has anything to do with really anything other than just that. He
Yeah.
likes it.
Yep, that's who he is. That's what he's about. Absolutely. And yeah, I remember those clips from your scouting video on Matty Beniers. Got me excited for sure at the prospect of a guy like that playing for the Kraken. And speaking of, we got this comment at the bottom of chat here from Superfly. Dylan's prospect chats and videos. I guess that's why he's for trading the pick. Means he doesn't have to do about 20 prospect videos for potential guys in the 16 to 32 range.
Yes. Yeah, I mean that would help me out a little bit, I guess. But no, it's just it's I don't know. As we grow and go through life, we have changing opinions on things, right? It's always nice to maybe stay a little fluid. But yeah, I don't know. Like I said, it's an argument that could be made. I'm not saying I'm necessarily in favor of it, but I like playing devil's advocate when I can.
Yeah.
Uh,
And one thing to add too, and because I want to thank all of you too, especially, thanking the patrons here because, thanks to your great support, thanks to your generous support, we have found it in the budget to get Dylan the entire CHL regular season video package. So if you thought he was powerful before, now he's got more video than he could ever possibly wade through for major junior hockey. So he's going to have some awesome stuff for you on the next prospect chat.
Yeah, definitely excited to break that down as I believe the two players we talked about watching this next go around, everybody was going to be Ty Nelson and Ryan Winterton. So some fantastic options there that I get to watch their upcoming games and put together some video clips for everybody and we can all talk about them. I'm really, really looking forward to that. And that is, I believe, a week after yours. So the
Yep.
20, yeah, yeah. Well, whatever that is. Or I think it's the 21st actually. Or
It is the
something like that.
21st.
Yeah. Let's see. What about trading for a guy like Travis Konechny? Probably wouldn't cost more than a third or fourth. He might cost a little bit more than that just
I would
because
think he would. I mean, he's a point per game guy on that bad Flyers team under contract for, I
yeah,
believe, 2 more years after
2
this
more
one at a
years.
very reasonable 5.5.
Yeah.
I think that's a pretty premium asset.
Yeah, I think he would cost more than that. I think if you could get him for a second, I would do that in a heartbeat.
Oh
Like
yeah, easily.
he's absolutely worth it because you're talking about a player. Not only is he a point per game player, he's got you look at his goal breakdown: 16 even strength, 5 power play, 3 shorties this season. Like he's just a complete player, all situations, all that kind of stuff. I've always been a big Travis Konechny fan, so I would very much be in favor of that, Michael. Let's see. Stratic pointing out the time to trade for Konechny was this summer. It is true. He kind of popped
Yeah.
off this year. He has increased the price. Um, let's see. Maddie should get the hat for that last block alone from Tammy. He
All
could
right. So
very
actually,
well
we do
could.
have news on who got the hat.
All right, let's go.
It's Jaden Schwartz.
All right.
So with the 2 goals there, and you know what? When he got the hat, first thing he said, want to know what he said? Fly, Eagles, fly. I guess he is a Philadelphia Eagles supporter today.
On
So I
board
mean,
with
hey,
the
they
Eagles.
beat the Philly hockey team, so it works.
Yeah, it's still a little weird to be in the building in Philly and doing
Right.
that as a non-flyer. Like there's I don't know. But good for him. It is well deserved. He had some big goals today and it's nice to see him just be back. Like we talked about these last couple games. Just nice to have him back in the lineup. Like he is a difference maker for this group.
Yeah.
Let's see. Rebecca, all our games against the Flyers have been a mess, but at least we got the W. Definitely absurdly sane, reminding everybody to like the stream. Thank you very much there. Superfly, and there's talk also that the Oilers are trying to get Carlson. Good thing there's only one puck they'd have to share, and of course they'd also have to score 8 per game to win. That is wild. I mean, the cap gymnastics that they would have to undergo to somehow get Erik Karlsson is crazy.
I am looking forward to potentially discussing this on the next regular podcast because I've looked into it. There's increasing amounts of smoke about a Carlson to Edmonton deal, and I have thoughts about it.
Yes, I'm sure you do. Last Red Glare, we talked about Connor Bedard and kind of the bottom 5 teams, pros and cons of him going to all those teams. You had quite a lot to say about the Sharks. We'll just say. Let's see. And hey, for Red Glare podcast, everybody, that's at our $5 tier too. So if you've been thinking about anything, like it's $5 a month. You're getting at least 4 podcasts there. Get early access to my scouting report videos. The Bedard one is up right now. I'm working on Fantilli right now. This is a lot of content there too. If you don't want to jump into the Terror of the Deep tier, just throwing that out there. Striatic Friedman poured some cold water on Carlson to Edmonton. Let's ignore that part. We don't want to hear that. He poured hot water is what you meant to say. Sean, got to think that Hackstall thing was about being canned by Philly, not anything current. That's a good point. Yes, I could see the closed captioning maybe throwing something off there about him being back in the building after being let go as the
That's
Flyers coach,
probably what
something
it
like
is.
that. That
Yeah.
makes a lot of sense. Thank you, Sean, for throwing that in there. We kind of probably should have thought about that. I'm mad at myself for not thinking about that already. Let's see. Joey, I'm going to be going to the Detroit-Seattle game at Climate Pledge. Nice. Enjoy that, Joey, because that should be a good game. Detroit is a weird, tricky team. They have some really good lines and defensive pairings, and then some that are really, really not that.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of fascinated to see what the Kraken look like against Detroit. It should be a really good one there. All right, so I'm at the bottom of the chat here. Let us know, anybody, if you have any kind of final questions or comments you want us to read. But really, RJ, I mean, as we get close to, well, the Super Bowl for everybody, I got, birthday stuff as well with my sister. The big takeaway though is just that on what was already going to be kind of a busy, potentially stressful day, all that stuff, Kraken were able to get us that win, take something off of all of our shoulders in the form of this losing streak and wondering when it would end, all of that, and for themselves too, because I really think this game against Winnipeg, it's arguably their biggest of this whole stretch coming off the break. So I'm sure they got to be feeling pretty good about that.
Definitely. You need some confidence going into that Winnipeg game. It's not going to be easy. Unlike Philadelphia, they're a team that can really make you pay for your mistakes whenever you make them. So it's important to go into there off of a win, and especially, not off of a 4-game losing streak. That's huge. And for the guys, for the players too. I know they're all going to enjoy watching the Super Bowl. They're going to be in Philly for that. As Dave Hackstall said, that'll be interesting being in the city for that game. But I know they're going to have a much better time now with the 2 points.
Right. I'm trying to see because Mason Appleton was just activated yesterday for the Jets as well. So looks like we could be getting Mason Appleton on that game tomorrow or on Tuesday against Winnipeg. So that's kind of fun. I know still lots of Mason Appleton fans from his brief time in Seattle. Gosh, that feels like a million years ago, doesn't it, RJ?
I know.
I was already thinking, like, they were talking about Bowie on the broadcast, and I was like, wow, that feels like so long ago. When they introduced Bowie and brought him in everything for the Seattle Kraken. But yeah, going up against Winnipeg, I mean, this is a team that they maybe don't have the depth scoring that the Kraken have. I'm looking at their team right now. They've only got 5 players with double-digit goal totals, but those 5 players they are scary, scary names to be looking at. And this is a team that is deep down the middle. I mean, you're dealing with some 2 pretty good centers. You're looking at a really, really good decor, and then obviously Hellebuck is just a fantastic netminder who's been playing so consistently well these last couple seasons. I mean, truly, what he's been doing has been fantastic. And if he was an East Coast goaltender, RJ, I got to think we'd be hearing nothing about him these last couple seasons. He's just been stellar. So the Kraken are going to need to figure some things out. This is going to be kind of a good test for where they're at as far as being ready for the playoffs. Can you win these face-offs against these good centers? Can you take advantage of the opportunities that are given to you? And finally, the biggest question of them all, can you handle special teams? Can you make sure you shut down their top power play unit that is loaded up with some studs when you have to? And can you take advantage of the power play opportunities when you get them? Because that is the key to being a good team like Winnipeg, and that is going to be the key for the Kraken come playoff time. So I feel like this game, more than any of the others, is kind of that real kind of measuring stick where we can see, all right, how ready are we for a potential playoff push here? And we'll know Tuesday.
Yeah, it's going to be an important test. Now, Dylan, I think chat has stopped working for us as far as what we're seeing. So I went and just checked on my phone.
Yeah.
I think we've missed some things. I don't know if you're seeing it.
Nope, I've got nothing. So
we got a super chat from LGG. So I'm sorry, I don't know how long ago that was. I apologize to LGG. We didn't see it. It's not showing up on our on the chat here, but I'm checking my phone. So thank you. LGG says great job. Thank you for the super chat there, LGG. Sorry we missed it. I don't know. It stopped after those other couple comments from Joey. So we've got a different Joey. Lightning, the only team we haven't beat. Superfly. Yeah. Superfly
today.
Yeah. I know. Awesome. That CHL package for Dylan's going to be huge. Can't wait
Mhm.
to hear / see the scouting video about Riley Height and Cohen Zimmer from Prince George.
Yep. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, I was like, oh, okay, I guess everybody's ready. But 77 people still in here, assuming that number's right here
Yeah, we've got
for us in
more in the chat that
StreamYard.
just
Yeah.
kept going. So
Yeah.
we're
Yeah. I don't
yeah.
have access to those. So if you want to,
Yeah, I'll read them off real quick
yeah.
here. We got Alex would like to see Maddie get it going offensively again soon.
Hmm.
I mean, I think we all would.
Yeah.
Um, Joey asking RJ, where are you going to be at Climate Pledge Arena? Oh, because he mentioned he's going to the
Yep.
Detroit Seattle game.
Yep.
So I'm going to be up in the press bridge like I usually am. But hey, if you want to meet intermission, like reach out, send us a DM, reach out on Twitter or something, and I'll see if I can make it down there either before the game or intermission. I'd love to say hi to anyone who's at a game
Mhm.
and wants to meet me. Um, and then, but speaking of that Detroit Seattle game, if
Yeah.
you want to go, you viewer, if you would
Yes.
like to go to that game, we are doing our 7,000 Twitter follower giveaway. So it's on Twitter. I'll go ahead and pin it right after this. But yeah, all you got to do is follow us on Twitter and retweet that tweet to enter. We're giving away 2 tickets to that Detroit Seattle game on Saturday. So make sure to enter for that and have a chance to win those tickets.
Yep.
And then Kitty B Kraken, will Gritty be at the Super Bowl? What do you think?
Gritty was in Philly today, so I mean, I don't know that you get on a plane, maybe for the fourth quarter.
I would say might have to go just for the very end of the game. Ship him on a plane, flying private, of course. I don't think Gritty's ever flown commercial in his life. Um, just send the plane straight over. I think he'll be all right.
Yeah, probably. Um, all right. So yeah, apologies about the chat there not working there at the end, everybody. Hopefully you all enjoy the rest of your day. Enjoy the Super Bowl if you're someone who partakes in that. Yeah, just stay safe, everybody. Have a good rest of your day, and we'll see you tomorrow, deep dive, and then on Tuesday against that Winnipeg game because it should be a good one. All right, take care.